Welcome back, ENC at lunchtime. Protesters have vowed to bring the City of London to a standstill today as President Trump is meeting in the city with the outgoing Prime Minister Theresa May. You'll know that Trump is on a three-day state visit to the country, but the protesters say he isn't welcome. Leader of the opposition Labour Party, Jeremy Corbyn, expected to join the protests. Let me take you live to Trafalgar Square. Correspondent Ollie Barrett is standing by with the very latest. Ollie, we'll get to the protest in just a moment, but the business end of the visit today after the ceremony yesterday, including the state banquet.
Yeah, that's right. Donald Trump and Theresa May have been holding talks with business leaders from both the United States and the United Kingdom, talking about the very close business ties between the two countries and also talking up the possibility of a trade deal between the United Kingdom and the United States once Britain leaves the European Union. If and when Britain leaves the European Union, there are very close business ties between the two countries. They are the biggest investors in each other's economies, and Donald Trump says there is more that can be done, that those business ties can be boosted further. So yes, those talks have been taking place already. Now Donald Trump and Theresa May are inside Downing Street with their delegations holding further talks. No formal one-on-one between the two leaders, and that is possibly because Theresa May, of course, does not have long left in this post, and Donald Trump will be very well aware that Theresa May is a Prime Minister that is on the way out of office.
What's the outlook as far as the protests are concerned?
Well, we are here in Trafalgar Square where the protests started an hour or so ago. There were hundreds of people here in Trafalgar Square at the beginning of these protests. Many of them have now moved on down in that direction, down Whitehall towards Downing Street, where those talks are taking place, and then on to Parliament Square. So there are hundreds and hundreds of demonstrators out despite the miserable English summer weather. Trafalgar Square, of course, where the South African High Commission is based behind me. There have been, we should say as well, some counter-protesters who are protesting in favour of Donald Trump being in the UK, but for the people who have joined the main demonstration, they are saying that Donald Trump shouldn't be being offered a state visit to the United Kingdom because they say he has views on things like misogyny, views on women, views on immigration, views on migrants, views on people of colour that they believe mean that he should not be welcomed to the United Kingdom in this way. So there have been some pretty angry people here, but there's also been something of a carnival atmosphere as well to welcome Donald Trump to the United Kingdom.
Has he put his foot in it yet? I've seen reports about him almost touching the Queen's back when she was proposing a toast. Another report I've just looked at now said he might have nodded off during her speech.
Yeah, there is some video circulating that looks like he is, if not asleep, then certainly rested his eyes for a few moments, let's say. He did appear to brush the back of the Queen as well, which would be a breach of protocol, although it's not completely unheard of, and she didn't appear to mind it in any way. He hasn't said anything particularly outrageous to the cameras since he's been here, but he has been tweeting pretty furiously at times. He was involved in a row with the Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, as he touched down here in the UK. We have a press conference in an hour or so from now, and that may be where we get the fireworks from Donald Trump, because he will be questioned by British and American journalists. They will certainly ask him about Brexit. They will certainly ask him for his views on the ongoing leadership race to be the next Conservative leader and therefore Prime Minister. It would normally be diplomatic protocol for an American president in that conversation to back anyone, not to say who he likes and perhaps who he doesn't like, but Donald Trump doesn't observe diplomatic protocol, so we may well get some interesting tidbits from him later.
And still no sign of Meghan Markle.
No, that's right. We are told that the reason for that is that she is on maternity leave, having just had a baby, but of course she has been critical of Donald Trump in the past, and he has responded to those criticisms recently, so I think it's being judged best to keep those two people apart on this trip. But he has been interacting with many members of the royal family. You mentioned the state banquet, the Queen was there, as was Prince Charles. Charles and Camilla also will be attending a dinner this evening at the American ambassador's residence in central London. It's been all smiles so far from the royal family, but you're quite right, no sign of Meghan Markle on this trip.
All right, Ollie Barrett, live just off Trafalgar Square in London.